One. Welcome, everybody, to Seattle Sports Union. My name is Abraham DeWeesel, and I'm here with Robert, the SoCal Seahawk, English. How you doing today, Rob?
I am doing very well. You know, I always say I'm always doing much better after a win than I am a loss, but on this particular day, I'm doing exceptionally well.
You know what's particularly unfortunate? After our harrowing, our last second win over the San Francisco 49ers, we're going to end up with a bye, and I can't wait. I can't wait 2 weeks, man.
Yeah, no, that's really, it's. I mean, I'm trying to find find solace in it. I'm trying to find the silver lining in it, but it's just really tough because coming off of a win like we had on Monday night, it's you just want to keep riding that wave. So it almost kind of sucks that we have to now step back and wait and let the pulses come down. You know what I mean? I kind of just want to keep the ball rolling.
Me too. Do you have any 49er friends?
Oh, I do. I have plenty of 49er friends. I have friends at work that we did the most talking, and I was thank goodness for kickers on this past Monday, because I was not looking forward to going to work on Tuesday had we not pulled off that win. So they were going to give it to me because I do more talking than most. So if I had a loss, it was going to be a rough rest of the week.
Hey, I know I don't have this on my show notes for tonight, but I have one particular friend who's doing nothing but giving me excuses, excuse after excuse. If the 49ers hadn't done this, if they didn't have Robbie Gould, or if they only had Robbie Gould, if they only had this guy or Sanders or that guy or this guy, and I just laughed at him. I said that excuses are what losers do. Losers make excuses. That's what I said.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, the funny thing is, it's everything's relative, right? So from their point of view, the only reason that we were able to do what we did was because of so and so. They weren't saying before the game, well, yes, Seattle, you guys have a good chance because we're missing so and so. They didn't say those things. They were just as confident as you would expect somebody to be heading into a game when you think you're the better team. So yeah, you're and they're 49er fans. I mean, what can you expect?
Exactly. Well, I went through it with my buddy. I asked him, okay, who are you missing? We're missing Travis Kelty, right? Okay, fine. We're missing Will Dissly. Okay, well, the 49ers were missing Sanders. Okay, well, we played an entire second half without Tyler Lockett. I mean, we can do this exercise all day long if you want.
Yeah, no, totally. There was really no clear, a disadvantage on the 49ers. I mean, it was, yeah, and not Kelsey though. I think you meant George Kittle. But
Kittle, I'm sorry, Kelsey's with the Chiefs. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, no, and I like to remain objective. If Kittle was in that game, it would have, things would have probably gone a little bit different. You know what I mean? Kittle is a great player, but there was just a whole lot of that was an emotional game. Pulses ran high. Both teams made great plays. Both teams made some mistakes. I mean, I don't know who you put in there. It didn't really matter who was in the field that day. It was going to be a good game.
Oh yeah. Okay. Got a question for you before we get to some of the highlights. What was your emotional reaction in overtime when Russell Wilson threw his second interception of the year?
Oh, it just took the wind out of you, right? I mean, it was the drive was going just exactly the way it needed to go. It looked like, I called it. I was down there when the game goes into overtime. I'm like, all right, I already know what's going to happen. We're going to have the quarterback. I'm drawing my blanks.
Jimmy G.
Geno Smith's gonna come out there.
Or Geno Smith. Sorry. Yeah.
He's gonna come out here and call the toss. He's gonna win it. We're gonna take the football, receive the football, go down there and score a touchdown. I mean, it was just that simple. We start going down the field, and Russell is executing the drive all but to perfection. and he tries to hit. I think that was going to
Jacob Hollister.
going to Jacob Hollister, right? And he just didn't put enough elbow grease into it, and I saw it as it was going to the corner, and I'm like, is he? And like, you see the tight end retreating back, and I was like, no, you know, you just saw it coming. It was almost slow motion, and I was thinking as I watched it, I'm like, okay, it's gonna get right over his hands. It's gonna get right over his hands, and it just went right into his hands. And really, you know, that it was the difference of a couple of inches that made that pass a bad pass versus an amazing pass. You know, I don't think
that was I don't think that was a terrible pass. That dude jumped out of his shoes to go get that ball.
It was a great play by the defender. Absolutely. It was a great play by the defender. I mean, now if Russell had that play to do over again, you know, even without having the hindsight, if he had to play that play over again, like if it was the first time, he makes that throw. He just underthrew it just a bit. And after a game like he played today or on Monday, excuse me, you know, I mean, hey, I'll forgive him for it, especially since we won. You know what I mean?
Hey, what about this defense, man? How did it turn itself around?
Oh man, I mean, it was like we were reborn on Monday night. You know, it is you could almost call this academic. This thing happens, and that thing is that Seattle just wakes up on prime time. This team just wakes up on prime time, and those things that we've been waiting for us to do all year long, all of a sudden the switch just flips and we turn it on and start doing it. We've been waiting for Jadeveon Clowney to have a game like he had on Monday all season long, and there isn't to suggest that Clowney has not been has not been effective. But I'm talking about a dominating game like he had on Monday night, and it, you know, there it was. You know, that's what we wanted to see, and I hope we can keep that going. That pass rush is the reason, or lack thereof, is the reason why our secondary has looked so bad. And you see, just like clockwork, the pass rush started becoming effective. And look, we should have had 4 interceptions in that game. You know, if it wasn't for KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner dropping 2. You know what I mean? And then we got 1 called back. You know, I mean, we should have at least 4 picks in that game. You know?
Oh, yeah. By the way, I have to give some props to the defensive coordinator, Ken Norton, because I don't know if you noticed this. On the first quarter, let's just say the first quarter, the 49ers only had 1 pass play in their pocket, and that was a slant pass. And that's all they were running because we kept blitzing. Norton decided to stop calling that, and next thing you know, Jimmy Garoppolo can't get anything done down the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mean, for all the talk, and let me just, you know, take a quick sidestep to say, you know, about how much of a snob I am as a fan. All these, you know, supposed fans that are so quick to condemn the coaching staff. Ken Norton needs to be fired. You know, I mean, he came out there and called an excellent game. You know, and the execution again, I think is more key than anything. But yeah, no, the Jimmy G looked like he was just in a tailspin out there. So, you know, we definitely had his number.
I noticed 2 positional changes throughout the game, or actually at the beginning of the game, to be honest. It was a replacement of Marquise Blair, the rookie out of Utah, at free safety with DeAndre Diggs. And 2, I didn't see Ziggy Ansah or LJ Collier much. In fact, I saw Shaquem Griffin in on a bunch of plays.
Yeah, what I saw is Ziggy Ansah jump a snap, and is on that. And as soon as he jumped the snap, he went over to the sideline, and from that point forward, I started seeing a whole bunch of Shaquem Griffin. So I don't know if that was one of those moves where, like, look, man, not only are you not being effective, you know, you're hurting the team. You know, with doing your best Michael Bennett impersonation. You know, at least Michael Bennett was doing it. He was out there making plays. You
It'd be
know,
one. Yeah, it'd be one sack, one offsides, one sack.
right. You can deal with that, but when you're not doing anything in the positive, and now you're causing negatives. I don't know what the deal was there, but I feel like I didn't see him as much in the game after that. And then Shaquem Griffin comes out, and he's out there coming off the edge. Never really got to the quarterback, but he had a few pressures. And if nothing else, he just made. I mean, you take that that tackle on that end of the line, and you open that side wide open, and the rest of the defensive line is going to be able to get there. So it was effective. Everything was effective.
What do you think about DeAndre Diggs at the free safety position?
I thought he was. I mean, his interception was. Amazing. I mean, obviously it was off of a tip, but I mean, you have to be. What's the word I'm looking for? Opportunistic. When those opportunities come up, you have to capitalize on them. And he got the one that we ended up one of the ones that we ended up getting. The opportunities we got, the other ones, the ball ended up hitting the ground. But yeah, no, it was great. I mean, it was perfect. It was perfect timing for us to get these turnovers that we got. And he played great out there. He was hitting hard. He was around the football. I'm thinking like, wow, that might be the missing piece that we need at the safety position. He was everywhere.
And that's where I was going with this. Is it possible for one mid-season acquisition like DeAndre Diggs to completely turn that defense around? Does he have a certain attitude? I mean, you mentioned it right there. You said we needed one guy to make a play, whereas three other Seahawks couldn't catch those deflected passes. Diggs did.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, Diggs. I think Diggs. To be fair, I think Diggs may have got the easy way out because his was defended. KJ's and Bobby's, were right to the. Well, KJ's hit him right in the chest, and Bobby Wagner's, he had to actually jump the route and kind of fight through the hands of the receiver. But I mean, he still got his hands on the ball. And then I think there was one other one that was off a tip that I don't know who I'm not sure which defender it was on our team that just couldn't grab it before he was falling to the ground. I remember who it was, but again, opportunistic is the best kind of defense, if you ask me. Even if you give it up yards, it's okay if you capitalize on the opportunities when you get them.
Earlier, we talked about Jadeveon Clowney. He had that fumble scoop for a touchdown, 5 quarterback pressures, one sack. Do we just pony up the money for this guy? I know he's a free agent at the end of the year, but is this the kind of guy that we should just open up that checkbook and make sure he stays a Seahawk?
That's tough because as good as he is, as good as we know he is Jadeveon Clowney. Let's just call that what it is. He is Jadeveon Clowney. Now, all that being said, Jadeveon Clowney is on the downslide of his career. I'd say he's more closer to being done than he is to being new, right? So, how much are you willing to really put out for this guy? How much money are you going to shell out for Jadeveon Clowney, who's he's seasoned, he's weathered. He's not the same guy he was when he coming out of Houston, when he originally got to Houston. So I don't know that you pay big money for Jadeveon Clowney. I think you maybe try to leverage, the allure of playing for the Seattle Seahawks and competing for a championship, and maybe he, I don't know if you call it a hometown discount, but I just don't know if he asks for big money. I think I see him in another uniform after the season. As sad as it would be, I just don't see us paying big money for him.
He's from Clemson, so he's about as far from hometown as possible. Right. I don't think that. I don't think that players usually take hometown discounts until they're in their final contract. And I might have to disagree with you. I don't think he's in his final contract or about to get his final contract, because I don't think NFL contracts go for 5 or 6 years anymore. So I might actually offer him a lot of money for 2 years and see if he's willing to take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see. I mean, don't get twisted. I'd love to see him remain in green and blue. I just don't know that we are going to shell out. I mean, and you can start talking about maybe the franchise tag or what, I don't know, but I just don't see us putting out a big amount of money for Jadeveon Clowney. I see him as more of a quick fix for this season. See how things go. But I mean, if his price tag is too big, I see us letting him go. I don't know. I can't see us spending big money for a player of his age and his as many miles on him.
Right on. Let's take a look at the offensive side of the ball. Earlier, I brought up that Tyler Lockett was injured. Mm-hmm. We, of course, saw Luke Wilson get injured. And, of course, there's no Will Dissly. What do you make of that, the remainder of the receiving core?
Well, what do I make of the remainder of the receiving core? Minus...
Is it good enough? Is it good enough with, let's say, Lockett's out for one game. Let's say Luke Wilson's out for one game. Are the remainder of the folks, including the newly picked up Josh Gordon, are they contender material?
I want to say yes, and that is only because of Josh Gordon arriving and him not going out there and doing anything that made me question whether or not we really wanted him on our team. He went out there and made a couple of nice catches. He didn't do anything too grandiose, but he got targeted, he caught the ball, he got a couple of big first downs. He did his job. DK Metcalf has been nothing but impressive all season long. With Lockett out, we do lose a certain dynamic of our offense. Is it the same? Of course not. No, it certainly isn't, and it looked different out there. But with Russell Wilson at quarterback, we just always find a way to figure out something. If there's any other quarterback behind center, under center, I think that you have a bigger problem missing your obvious number one guy. But with Russell out there, Russell's always done well to really spread the football around, generally speaking, anyway. So if we just get our guys out there that are, running their routes and not quitting on plays, Russell's going to find them. So I don't think we take too much of a step back with Lockett out. And for all that to be said, or saying all that, I think we're going to be all right with Lockett anyway. So I'm not worried about that too much.
You mentioned any other quarterback, and I think what we saw on Monday was any other quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy G, is he overrated? Because once he lost Sanders, and of course, like you mentioned earlier, there's no Kittle. The guy couldn't hit anybody. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
Yeah, and to be fair, again, I would love to go out here and just trash anything 49ers because, my motto is, the 49ers. But to be completely fair to Jimmy Garoppolo, whereas he did seem rattled, he did seem kind of, like he was, what they say about the quarterback for the Jets, that he was seeing ghosts.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sam Darnold, yeah. It looked like he was almost seeing ghosts out there. But that being said, I mean, his receivers were doing him no favors out there. There was so many, brick hand drops by the receiving core of the San Francisco 49ers that I, at some point, I kind of, sort of, but not really felt bad for Jimmy G. Because there's a couple balls that he hit the receiver. It might have been a little bit high or whatever, but you got to catch the football.
And I'm not saying he's terrible, but I just wanted to use that label, any other quarterback, and right. That's kind of him. He when the going gets rough, he doesn't rally the troops like Russell does.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a train wreck out there. The more that they kept going, it just kept falling apart for him. And he did, yeah. Like you said, he is any other quarterback. He's certainly not Russell Wilson. And is Jimmy Garoppolo overrated? I think if games like this that are of this magnitude, and going up against a formidable team, if he gets a pass rush in his face and so on and so forth, if he's going to kind of underperform in the way he did on Monday night, yeah, you're going to start looking at that overrated tag, being stuck to him, because that's the kind of game where you want this, multi-million-dollar guy to go out there and, pull himself up by his bootstraps and make the plays to win the game for your team. And he did not do that.
And that's once again where I have to give Ken Norton some credit. The Seahawks completely took away the run game. And that's what that whole 49er offense is predicated on. Just ground and pound.
Right. And really that kind of calls back, I think we may have gotten away from it a little bit the last couple games, but, earlier this season, we were sticking with that base 4-3. We were like going hard against the run and trying to make teams one-dimensional. And that's exactly what happened on Monday. I mean, we took away that run. I mean, I don't remember how many times Garoppolo threw the ball, but it was a lot. And we got
40,
a good
40
pass.
plus attempts. Yeah.
It was more than 40 attempts. So, you make them one-dimensional, and you make the team have to throw the football, and then you get a good pass rush, and this is what happens. I mean, this is the formula, especially for the Seahawks. This is the formula to keep on moving forward this season. If we can keep this pass rush going, and get some, and hold down the run, we have a lot more of these type of wins coming down the pipe.
How are you feeling about Jason Myers, the Seahawks kicker?
Well, kickers have it tough. Kickers have it real tough. You only have one job, and if you do it, you're the greatest. If you fail at it, people will send letters to your house. So it's tough. I have to hand it to Jason Myers. I was more the most impressive part about it was how on that last kick when he got the late ice and he actually kicked the football, and then he had to go and do it again, because I mean, I'll if he could be at the VMAC and probably kick that kick straight down the middle 25 times in a row. But when you're in the game, you kick it once and then you got to go kick it again. That ball tried to squirt to the right. I was looking, I was like,
I screamed no, and then that changed into a yes. It was a no ass.
Yes. Exactly. And I'm telling you, I'm gonna go ahead and take credit for this, because I did will that kicker from San Francisco, that rookie kicker. I willed him into that miss.
That's one of the worst misses I've ever seen.
That was a terrible miss. So if you go on Twitter, you can find, I'm not sure what you have to search to find it, but if you just search for Seattle versus SF, C versus SF. If you look that up on Twitter, you'll find a video of someone in the tunnel.
I've seen that.
The kick, did you see it? The kick went into the tunnel. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, there are like some VIPs standing around watching the kick, and then they had to scramble because the ball was coming right at them.
Right. But how did you kick it into the tunnel? Like that's such an odd angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really, really bad kick.
How much credit does Pete Carroll get for sticking with him? Myers was 3 of 8 from kicks over 40 yards up until this game, and I guess Pete Carroll just kept with him. Everything that I've seen, he was encouraging him the entire week leading up to this.
Yeah. I mean, Pete came out and said it in the presser. First things first, Jason is our kicker. J-My is our kicker. That's it. And I have to, and I commend him for it. I mean, if he had gone out and stunk it up again, it might be a different story. But like, okay, Pete, let's how about say something different this time, But he is steadfast when he is when he speaks on his confidence in his players. He said Chris Carson's our running back, and Chris Carson still has had a little bit of the fumble-rooskies, but he's also done some amazing things with the football. In jest. So I mean, look, as long as we keep ultimately coming out on the positive side, I guess, everything else is bearable, right? I mean, no matter what happens, if you come out with the W, it's almost going to be, I mean, you could accept anything when it results in a W.
Yeah. What is this? Speaking of W, what does this win mean? To go down to San Francisco against an undefeated team with a much maligned defense and a team that doesn't resemble anything like the Legion of Boom. What does this mean in the psyche of the Seahawks and then the psyche of the NFC West?
And frankly, let me just say the psyche of the NFC. It means that you must at this point take the Seattle Seahawks all the way seriously. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about, Seattle's won this and won that, but every team that the Seahawks beat, other teams beat by a lot more points. And, like that really matters. I'm always saying, hey, listen, you don't get any extra notches in the win column for blowing a team out.
There's no rankings like college football.
Right. Exactly. There's no strength of victory rank, points. So, as long as you get the win. And I was saying earlier that being able to go and win out and grit out tough, hard fought games, all that are all the way down to the end, that's a character trait.
You called it last week. You said on this show, these types of wins are what will separate you when it comes down to tough games, again, like today, Monday.
Exactly. I'm telling you that's it. I mean, we all want to see, the Russell go out there and put up 30-something, 40-something points and the defense hold the other team to, 10, 12, 14. I mean, we all, of course, we want to see that, but that really isn't who this team is anymore. Like we have to stop expecting to see Legion of Boom performance from this team. That's just not who we are. And I say it every time I get the opportunity to. We are a team that's going to be opportunistic wherever possible. And Russell Wilson is going to put up the points, and we're going to wait for our defense to make an opportunistic play at the right time, and just be in a position to win the game at the end of every game. And that's how we're going to do it. That's how we've been doing it, and I don't really see it changing anytime soon. Unfortunately it's hard to accept that, or it's hard to explain that when you actually do end up losing, because it's like, if we would just stop taking our foot off the gas pedal, or whatever people like to say, we've said it on this show, if you would have stopped, if you wouldn't have stopped, playing so hard, we would have been able to withstand whatever the other team threw at us, but again, that's just not who we are.
But they do have some things to clean up, don't they?
Oh, certainly. I mean, the fumbles can't happen. Rashad Penny even joined the fumble game. I mean, it was, there was plenty of mistakes that happened in this game, that we can clean up. But I mean, it's almost something you can overlook. All the mistakes you can almost overlook when the defense played so well. The defensive line played so well. I don't know who can beat us if we played the way we played, minus a couple of the mistakes. If we play that kind of game, I don't know who on our schedule can beat us the rest of this season, with the exception of possibly the Niners game when we play them in week 17.
Well, let's take a look at that final set of games. 5 of the final 6 are against teams that are going to be looking at playoff contention: Eagles, Vikings, Rams, Panthers, and 49ers. That's no easy task. Looking at what the Seahawks have to clean up, and just kind of thinking about matchups, because often it's about matchups. What do you see in these final 6 games? What kind of record do you think the Hawks, 1, need to get to the playoffs? 2, what would you predict them finishing?
Well, where are we now? 8-2,
8-2,
right? So
500 seasons guaranteed.
Right, absolutely. So we can tank the rest and Willie will still be 500. And 500 is considered winning, right? It's a winning season if you get 500.
That's the 1990s Seahawk fan and you're talking.
Exactly. See, we were there. I look at how many wins is it going to take to win this division? You can't even you got to assume it's going to take at the very least 11, right? So we can we get 3 more wins out of this remaining record, remaining schedule. I want to say that the Vikings. Well, let me change it differently. I want to say that the Eagles present an issue, the Panthers present an issue, and then the Niners again. The Vikings
based off a matchup.
Based off matchups. I think the Vikings and the Rams, unless the Rams turn themselves around, they seem to just be in turmoil. I think the Vikings and the Rams, we stand a good chance of winning those games. I want to say readily, but we don't really win games like that. But I think we come out on top for sure against the Vikings and the Rams. Eagles, Panthers, Niners. Those are going to be big games. Those are going to be really big games. And matchup wise, what are we going to do against like Christian McCaffrey? We're gonna stop the run, right? And put the game in the hands of whatever quarterback's going to be starting by then. I mean, do they bring Cam Newton back by that point, or are they're going to stick with the kid? I think I'd rather see Cam Newton, to be honest, because that kid's playing pretty good. And then at that point, the Niners in week 17, you assume that they're going to be healthy by then, assuming that they don't lose anybody else. So that's going to be another big matchup. This time in Seattle, though. So yeah, like you said, it's tough, but I'm thinking 3 games that we can win. Anything more than that is just icing on the cake. But I'm taking 3 games out of these last last 5.
Okay, so going 3-3 in the final 6. That's going to be tough, because if you lose the wrong 3, that could be a major disaster. For example, if we lose to let's just say the Eagles. Yeah, let's go with the Eagles, the Vikings, and the Panthers. Let's say we lose those 3. Those are teams that are vying for that, for playoff positioning. And head-to-head losses are one of the tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I want to win, to be honest.
True. I mean, and that's assuming that we don't catch the Niners, right? I mean, because the Eagles, I'm expecting the Eagles to win the East. So with them winning the East, they will be less of an issue, because again, they're going to be 1 through 4. So
they're tied with Dallas, so that depends.
Yeah, but do you think what do you think about Dallas?
I think it depends on what week you catch them on. They look like world beaters one day, and then they lose to the Jets the next day. So I don't know who they are.
Right, exactly. I don't know. I feel like the Eagles are trending upward right now. And Dallas is just scrambling to stay even. So I have no faith in Dallas right now. That could change, but I'm expecting the Eagles to win that division. We had a good week this week with us beating the Niners, now pulling only 1 game behind them. And then Carolina lost, the Rams lost, and I think Dallas lost as well, right? So
yeah. But the Vikings are 7-3, and they would be the final wild card position right behind us. A head-to-head loss to them could be a problem.
Could. Yeah. We want to. I mean, obviously, we want to probably we want to win out, right? But
yeah, of course, yeah.
if we remain realistic.
But I'm just going under the the format that you laid out. Like if we go 3-3, it almost makes, in my opinion, it seems to make a big difference who you lose to.
Right.
Yeah. But like you said, what's the guarantee that the 49ers are going to win out? There's no guarantee in that.
Yeah, the 49ers have just, I mean, we were just the first of a lot of big games they have coming up throughout the rest of the season. So I'm not counting on them, just running roughshod through the rest of their schedule. So I mean, like I said, this could here's what I predict. I predict that week 17 just might be a game for not only the division, but possibly even home field advantage. You know what I mean?
That'd be awesome.
Yes, you know what I mean. So yeah, that's definitely it's something to look forward to. I think the Seahawks are trending up. The Niners are gonna continue to do what they've been doing, but they're certainly not going to go undefeated through the rest of this year, or win out the rest of the year. They got some tough games coming. So week 17 is going to be huge.
Well, I mean, if you're a 49ers fan, you're probably having the same discussion too, right? I mean, they have Arizona next week, and then I forget what order it is, but it's Ravens, Saints, Packers. That's what they flashed up on the TV.
Right.
And, I don't remember which ones are which, but all three all three need wins to stay in that playoff hunt.
Right.
So it's they're going to get their best. They're going to get the best effort from those teams. So maybe they're thinking themselves, if you're a 49er fan, if we can just go 3-3 with the correct wins against the correct teams,
it'll work out. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of you don't really want to base everything on what other teams are what games other teams are going to lose. Like, you go out and win. But no, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I gotta say, three wins is going to set us up really, really nicely. I mean, 11 wins on the season. At the very least, you're going to sneak in the wild card, with 11 wins, and it's only a matter of one more win, more than likely, that you're talking about that, winning your division and getting a bye or maybe something better. So, yeah, it's coming down to it. It's a good race we got.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining us again this week, Rob English, and I'd like to let everybody else out there know that you have your own podcast just before Seahawks games every week. And if you'd like to give your Podbean address out there.
Absolutely. Yes. You can catch my podcast, Short Yardage, on website is shortyardage.podbean.com. Try to get them up there as early as I can in the week, but usually just before the game, as you said. And also you can also catch them on the Seattle Sports Union website.
Yeah, that's website is seattlesportsunion.com. Also check us out on Facebook, that's Seattle Sports Union, and on Twitter at Seattle Sports U. Thank you guys for joining us this week. We'll be back next week. Even though there's a bye, Rob and I will still be back next week and get you guys updated and prepped for the big final 6 games. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you later. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.